Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. And in this video, we're going to talk about the quote dangers of refinancing. But before I start talking about the topic, I got my buddy ChatGPT to come up with a disclaimer about how you should seek professional financial advice if you're looking for advice. So the information presented in this video is for informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional financial advice. I'm not a licensed financial advisor, and I'm not acting in such capacity throughout this content. So there's a lot of stuff here, but just be aware that I'm not giving you any advice. And if you need advice, go seek a licensed professional or the appropriate professional to help you out with that. So I'm okay. So now let's get started. So what is refinancing? So basically think of it like this. You have a loan, maybe you've been paying it for a couple of years, and then you get a letter in the mail. It says, hey, you could refinance maybe to like a lower interest rate or better terms or blah, 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 or a lower monthly payment, right? So I've known people who've refinanced. They went from, let's say, like I don't know, 4.5% to I think a 2.8%. And so they kind of save money because they have a lower monthly payment. What happens is that they restart a loan. So if they're paying for 7 years, they only had 23 more years to that loan. But if they refinance, then they have to now restart from zero and then pay an extra 30 years like on a mortgage, right? So you're basically restarting the loan. And if you ever sell your home, that's kind of like a form of refinance, right? Because you're restarting a new loan to replace your original loan. I heard that it is possible to use your existing mortgage to buy a new home. I've never looked into it, but I heard there is a possibility to do that. But when people buy a new home, they usually restart a new loan. So here's a pro tip. When you're thinking about refinancing, think as if you were the bank, right? There's a statistic that says the average American, and I don't know where I heard this, sells a home or refinances every 7 years. So let's say they get a 30-year mortgage, then after 5 to 7 years, they're going to get another 30-year mortgage, right? And so the way that I would suggest that you think about this is that you think if you were going to send somebody a letter, say, hey, you can refinance your home, what would be the winning situation for you, right? How can you make even more money? And so I've thought of two situations here where you have even the same interest rate. So let's say like you paid a home for 5 to 7 years, you send a letter to a homeowner, say, hey, you could get a lower monthly payment. So at that time, if you refinance a loan or your mortgage, and you have the same interest rate, and you say, hey, you could pay $200 less, you're going to make a good amount of money, right? So that's like one winning situation for you. Now, if the borrower has a lower, significantly lower interest rate, I'd say probably more than 1%, maybe a little bit more if you include like the loan origination fees and broker costs or whatever. They would probably at least come out even, right? So probably if there's a 1% drop, they will probably do good. But if it's more like a 0.5 or something like that, or the same interest rate but a lower monthly payment, and let's be honest, what does the average American think of? Do they really care about how much they're paying, or do they care about the monthly payment? They, on all honesty, I think they just really care about the monthly payment, and the banks know this, right? So if you were the bank and you want to make more money, what you do is you tell the borrower, hey, like you could pay $200 less, and it'll probably be like a ease in your finances, right? Another situation where is people demand, like, hey, I need better terms, and I definitely need a lower interest rate. I really think another way that the bank would win is just by giving you a higher loan amount. And so one of the ways that you can give higher loan amounts is, let's say, like your property value is doubled, or something like that, or like you live in a really high appreciating area, then you can pull out the equity. And if you don't know what equity is, it's pretty much the value of the home minus the loan. So it's, if you have more equity, then you could do something called cash refinance, cash out refinance, pull out that equity, put it in your bank account, and that's another way that the bank could win. if you were the bank. So you think of yourself, okay, how can I win if I were the bank, and how can I get out more money from the people who have borrowed from me? So what happens many times is that every 5 to 7 years, bank's going to send you a letter saying, hey, you can refinance and blah, 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 blah. And a lot of people do it because I'm pretty sure that because they get a lower monthly payment and they don't really see all the actual costs. They don't understand, how they're losing and how the bank would win. Because really, would the bank ever put you in a position that's actually helpful to you, right? There's a reason why banks in pretty much every single major city have the tallest buildings in the downtowns. Okay. So another thing that you should consider that I forgot, I recently refinanced and loan, and not because I wanted to, but because I had to, is that you have to pay origination and broker fees. I think I have received offers where it says like, no origination fees. I probably will take a look into that maybe for in the future, but I just know in general, pretty much everybody charges these origination fees. And I had to pay, I forgot, I think 12 to 17,000 just for it. Now I didn't pay out of pocket, I added to the loan, but the fact that it costs so much more to get a loan than, let's say, like a home equity line of credit. The home equity line of credit I got literally cost me $0. They didn't even charge me like an underwriting fee. They said it's, if you qualify, it's free. Like, dang, that's awesome. But you get a loan, I mean, they're gonna charge you up the wazoo, right? So something to consider. But when we do the math today, we're not going to actually consider this, but you just have to consider that, refinancing a loan is not, a simple deal. Okay. All right. So now let's do this. Let's take a look at this situation. So let's say you had a $300,000 loan at 6% interest, and then 7 years later, you sell the home, right? So let's just assume you sell the home and you get a new loan. So you imagine that you got the profit from the 300,000. So you paid it off for 7 years, and you get the equity from that, and you get a new loan as if it were the 7 year mark. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll explain with numbers later. So this is kind of like situation A, where you pay the mortgage for 7 years, and then you sell it and you get a new 30-year loan, right? So let's imagine that that's going to happen. So to figure out how much we're going to pay, we have this cool amortization calculator from Bankrate. So if you just type in amortization calculator in Google for Bankrate, you can easily see how much you would pay. So 300,000, and we'll say 6%, right? And so as you can see here, the monthly payments are 1,800, and so 1,799. The total interest paid, if you just paid exactly for 30 years, would be $347,000, and the total cost of the loan is about $647,000. Now, I've created an Excel sheet, really easy to just kind of calculate this. And so what we're going to do is going to write down. So let's see, do we get this? So 347,515. Yep, we got it. The original terms of the loan, and then what happens at year 7. So let's say we're paying this, right? And we got to go to the schedule here. So this will show you the breakdown year by year. And if you click this plus sign, it's going to do a monthly breakdown. But let's say after 7 years, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we paid $109,000 in interest, right? So $109,000 of interest. Okay, cool. All right, so let me go ahead and reformat this so it looks clear. Okay, so $109,000 of interest. Okay, now we have to get a new loan. So let's say that we are getting a new loan. So we're going to buy another $300,000 house, but we'll assume that we are able to we only need a loan of this amount, and the difference that we get from selling the home, the loan amount, we're going to put it down for the new house. But let's just assume that all we need is a new loan at this amount. So now we're going to get a new loan for $272,000, right? So $272,000. Okay. Now I'm not even counting the origination fees, so 12 to 17K. Let's ignore that for now. But all we have to do in order to calculate the interest is that basically we're gonna get the interest paid at year 7. So after 7 years in paying to the home, you paid about $100,000, right? And then this is the amount remaining, and you're restarting a 30-year loan, and we'll say that it's for the same interest rate, right? So let's take a look here. So the first monthly payment was about $17.99. So let me put that in. So I'll say original monthly payment is $17.99, right? Now, after we refinance, some people might get really excited about this because they're definitely going to pay a little bit less on the monthly payment. Now, again, we're comparing same interest rates because this is probably more likely in the scenario where you sell the home rather than refinancing your current home because you're probably going to want better terms and lower interest rate if you do refinance your current home. But I've gotten an offer. I remember I got an offer from the bank that's saying that, hey, you could refinance your entire house or pull out the equity of your house, but it'll be like at a 7% interest rate, and I'm at like a 2.8. So definitely, banks will make offers to see if you're going to take them that wouldn't make sense to you, and I'm pretty sure somebody will take it, right? So it doesn't mean that banks are only going to make offers for lower interest rates for refinancing. Okay, so now we have $272,000, and we have a new monthly payment. Ooh, so 1634. 1634 and 1799. So I'll just say new monthly payment. Okay. So let's see what the difference is. So let me get out my calculator and just do it right in front of you. 1799 minus 1634. Ooh, so that's $165 less in the monthly payment. So some people would be really excited about this, that they'd be getting a new loan for 30 years because the monthly payment's going to be lower on their new house. Okay, so let's take a look here and see how much interest is paid, right? So if we never decide to refinance or resell our home, this is the new interest, total interest for the loan, right? So now let's go ahead and reformat this again. Okay, so now to see how much we paid in total, it's this number plus this number. So at year 7, when we sold our house, we paid this amount in interest, right? And we got a new loan for the house for this amount, assuming that everything's equal, or the home value of the new house is equal, and we only have to get a loan for the amount that we're paying off. And so what's the total? So what we're going to do is just sum it up. A4, I think 4 plus A6. All right. So now we essentially be paying $424,000. Is this right? Oh my gosh, that seems so much. Let me just yeah, that is right. So we'd be paying $424,000 in interest compared to if we just stayed at the home and paid $347,000. Now, I don't know about you, but this $347,000 is a ripoff. But if you refinance or resell or sell your home and get it at the same interest rate, then they're going to kind of, they're really going to get it to you. So let's just do another calculation of what the difference, how much more interest there is. So it's just a 8 minus a 2, right? So you're subtracting this from this here. And basically they would get an extra $77,000 off of you because you bought a new house, even if that house is worth exactly the same as the previous house, right? So, and we didn't even count the origination fees. So if you count the origination fees, then they're making a good load of money off of you. But yeah, so moral of the story is that if you're going to refinance and you're solely looking at the monthly payment and not at the interest rate. So if you're going to refinance, you certainly need better terms, right? And so if I'm going from, let's say, a 6% to a 4 or 3%, I probably will win. But if I'm going to 6 to 5.5, I probably won't. And again, it's very important to do your numbers and just kind of do a quick calculation to figure out, am I going to win if I refinance or not? And what's really important is that you learn to think like a bank, right? Um, and I'll just give you a quick scenario here. So, for example, let's say that, a lot of people think that like they're financially responsible if they pay off their loans, and people will think that they'll be proud of them. So let's say like you pay off a 30-year mortgage in like 5 years, right? If you're the one lending the money, would you really be happy with that? I would say no, because all the interest that you was going to be paid to you is not there anymore, right? Or think about this, like if you loan $300,000 and you got that $300,000 back like the next month, would you be happy? I know I wouldn't, because if they had just paid for the 30-year schedule, I would have gotten maybe $300,000 to $600,000 of interest, right? So just be aware, and that's why I say, pro tip, learn to think like a bank whenever you're doing these types of calculations and wondering if something is good for you or not, or you're getting some kind of an offer. All right. So this is Korean Atlanta mentorship. And so as you can see, there are dangers in refinancing. Mostly it's just all numbers, but learn to do the calculations. Learn how to do the original interest, figure out how much you paid, and you don't even have to do the calculation yourself. Go to Bankrate, use the amortization schedule calculator, and just copy and paste the values in Excel, and you'll figure out if you're going to win or not. All right, so that's it for today. Have a great day, and we'll speak next time.